press the start streaming button, Lewis. Put that beaver away. I don't know.
I'm
I don't know
gonna
why.
send you this because it's actually pretty freaking
I'm not
amusing.
sure I want to see it. I'm not sure why you're looking at a beaver. I'm not sure who sent that to you.
It's because there's an apple.
Oh,
The beaver's got an apple.
he's actually kind of a cute little dude.
Look at him. Watch
Look at
him
him
go.
trying to carry away all his treasure. Can't do it though. His hands are too small.
Oh my god. Yeah.
All right, Lewis. I think we're live. Oh yeah, the bits are coming in. Boom. And we're live, Lewis. Look, there's even someone here.
Thank heavens.
Look at that. Oh, do you want the
me?
tweet?
Yeah. Tweet.
This tweet's gonna bring him in, Lewis.
Bring it in.
It actually might be you. Are you watching the stream?
No.
Oh, you're not? Okay, ready? Let's send out this tweet, and then let's get this show on the road. It's 8:45 Pacific time. No one's up, Lewis. No one's up.
I'm barely up, so.
Oh, we got some people here.
Blame them.
All right, but this Apple news is it's gonna excite us. It's gonna ignite us. We're gonna be doing it. Hop into the chat, say hello. We're doing a late show today because Lewis is traveling all day tomorrow, so we had to start tonight, and I've been gone all day. Oh, we got Kenneth Roberts says, he says, let's go. I wish I had one of those air horns. Bow, 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 bow. That's getting me amped, Kenneth. That and the push-ups I did and the fine Colombian cocaine that I did before the show.
Oh my god, you got a typo in your tweet. Cast is live.
No. I gotta correct that. Usually I just let him go, but that's too embarrassing. Okay. That's like it never happened, Lewis. Thank you for editing that for me on the fly. Oh, that's even worse. I put Colts. You know, my brain is still in Orlando, Lewis. Honestly.
Sure, you barely made it out alive. I
barely
can only
made it out
imagine
alive.
the trauma after that hurricane.
And I had so much fun on that trip. I just think about it every day. And I can't wait to go back, man. I had so much fun. Especially at Universal Studios. We did all the crazy roller coasters and stuff. And it was wild, man. I was just reading the other day that so we did like the Hulk roller coaster at Universal Orlando.
This tweet is unavailable. God dang it.
Well, I just sent out another one, dude.
I know, and
Refresh
I was
this-
already
refresh
in
the
the
feed.
middle of the...
And I was reading some article on Google that says they have a problem with that roller coaster with people passing out because it's so intense. And I was chuckling to myself because, first of all, it's not just the roller coaster, man. That whole freaking experience is meant to make you go full Hulk. Like you walk in and there's like green goo bubbling up in these cauldrons and like green lights blinking on and off, and then they have like a nuclear alarm in the background going you know. The whole thing is just designed to agitate your senses and get you ready for the experience. So I do this ride and it's totally insane, and I get off and there's a freaking medic sitting there with somebody on a bench outside the ride. That's how intense this ride is.
Yeah? Did anybody... was it because there was a iPhone 14 on the ride?
You are a real pro. I don't think iPhone 14 was out at that point. Neither was iOS 16. Maybe it was iOS 16 beta. They're like, sir, we came to help you. He's like, I'm fine. They put the paddles on his chest. Clear. He's like, no, really. Shout out to Salvador Urea. Apple Watch Ultra is huge, and I love it. It's huge. Let's go. Yeah, I can't wait to get mine, man. Can't wait to get mine.
Big as an Oktoberfest beer.
It's as big as that beer Lewis has got right there. Almost. Hold that thing up, Lewis. Let's take a look at it.
I'm practicing for tomorrow. For the...
That's not even that big.
No, it's a tiny. It's a half beer.
Yeah, that's a little girly beer right there.
We're playing at the Steins in the Square in Tulsa, Oklahoma tomorrow.
Nice.
Not tomorrow. Friday and Saturday.
That's cool.
Never been there.
Oh, that should be fun. Hopefully, it won't be too hot. I know Oklahoma is not exactly a cool place.
Apparently, it's going to be warm.
Yeah.
80s.
And you're going to be...
I thought, it's October. I thought maybe it'd be, chilly.
Yeah, I don't think so. Not until like November or December.
I'll be fully decked out in Lederhosen.
Sweating like a schwein.
Sweating beer.
And that leather Lederhosen.
Sweating dunkel.
Well, stay tuned. We'll make sure we show that picture that Lewis just sent me. If you want to see Lewis in a pair of man Lederhosen, just stay tuned. All right, Lewis. I think we're ready to go. We got some people here, and it's almost 9, and we haven't even started. Shocker.
Ridiculous.
So,
I gotta be on a plane at 8 in the morning.
oh,
So.
dude, okay, let's power our way through this as fast as possible. What a trooper Lewis is. What a mensch. So, let me go ahead and cue up Mrs. You Know Who, and we'll get this show rolling. Oh, Mrs. D. Oh, guten Tag, mein Herz. Oh, Mrs. D. learns the German.
Sehr gut.
Oh, yes. And last night I showed that little delicious LK my schnitzel. Oh! We did not need to know that. Oh, my. Oh, it was delicious. Okay, gross. We don't need to hear any more details about you and LK. I'm glad he's doing well, though. It sounds like you two are really having a lot of fun together. If you don't mind, Mrs. D, let me go ahead and get this music going, and we'll get the show rolling. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. I got it. This is gonna be quite an introduction for you, Lewis. This show, apropos. Hello and welcome to the podcast, the best 30+ minute app conversation you're gonna hear all week long. I'm your host, Air from Elijah. Join me today. He holds a Guinness Book World Record for a most Oktoberfest festivities attended in a 4-week period. You know him as the toughest editor in tech, but the Germans know him by another title, Herr Bierleichen. He's the managing editor of Cultback.
Bierleichen, you took it to heart.
Oh, Lewis Wallace is here.
It's great to be back.
Oh man, when I saw that shirt, I was excited because I was like, that's the perfect shirt intro combo right there. For those of you listening, which is most of you, he's wearing an Oktoberfest shirt. And I mean, that intro is true to life. Lewis goes to more Oktoberfest celebrations than anyone I've ever met because he's in a band. It's an accordion band, right? So you guys just go around and you drink your steins and you just play accordion music. Do you play any like German inspired music, like polka or anything like that?
Yeah, we play a lot of polkas. We play the name is Those Darn Accordions is the band, right?
Okay.
And yeah, we have a lot. We mostly play our own music, but we play Beer Barrel Polka, and we play I'm Prosit like a million times. And we play tons of like rock songs and classic. We write our own polkas too, So
That's great.
It really spans the gamut of type of stuff. And if you've ever listened to like what goes on at I've never actually been to the actual Oktoberfest in Munich. That's
You
one of
haven't?
those
I have.
bucket list things I want to go.
I've got
to.
that on you. Okay.
So the bands are just like they're playing covers all the time, right? And I'm Prosit every 15 minutes and Beer Barrel Polka but they're playing Country Roads every 30 minutes too, right?
Okay.
Did you rock out to Country Roads?
I do like Country Roads, yeah.
Did you hear it at the Oktoberfest?
No, I didn't.
Oh, well, it's a beloved song.
Not the
from what I hear.
Not the polka edition anyway. You talking about the John Denver song?
Yeah, they just they just play all kinds of cover songs at those things, right? And Country Roads is like I was talking to somebody and they were talking about how they were at some Irish pub and everybody was passed out drunk, like literally like asleep on tables, everything, right? And then Country Roads comes on the jukebox and they all get up and start singing like a bunch of zombies.
Is that a German
weird.
classic? I didn't know that.
I don't know how it became that way, but it's like an international classic. So
I had no idea.
Oktoberfest, it's a big hit. Apparently, Dublin Irish bars at 3 a.m. when everybody's too drunk to play darts.
People love Country
Big
Roads,
hit.
huh? Man, that's great. I love John Denver ballads. That warms my heart.
Dusseldorf.
I had no idea that he was popular outside of the U.S.
Yeah.
What about Neil Diamond? Any Neil Diamond fans out there?
All I know is that one song in particular has a special place in the Oktoberfest song pantheon. So
that's so weird. Country Roads does?
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't compute.
I mean, except for the fact that it's fun to belt out after you've had, your Stein. But so is Sweet Caroline.
I'm guessing, there's all kinds of pop songs people play. I mean, everything I've ever heard is bands, accordion and brass bands playing and rock bands playing all kinds of covers. It's like we were at some, this was an Oktoberfest, but we were way deep into a tangent. But we were at like a St. John's festival in Portugal. And 30,000 people standing down by the waterfront. And by the way, the highlight of this festival, people walk up to each other and hit each other in the head with rubber mallets, little plastic mallets.
That's
It's the best event I've ever been to in my life. And
you
I
played to
haven't been
30,000 people.
No, I was just there.
Oh, okay.
I was just there, enjoying myself. But all these people, you're surrounded by all these people in Portugal, in Porto, and there's it's at midnight, right, for a midnight fireworks show. It's gigantic and awesome, and but they're pumping out this music before the thing, right? And Bon Jovi song comes on, and everybody starts singing. I mean,
which song was it? Living on a Prayer? Bow wow, bow wow.
You know what? All of a sudden, I can't remember.
Yeah.
It was one of those ones that, one of those ones that yeah, I don't remember what it was.
It wasn't that one.
I can't remember. But it was shocking, right? Like I mean, to me, Bon Jovi's like a band I grew up with. Loved hair metal when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't exactly my favorite band ever, and I don't think of them as like America's, chief musical export. But
well, hold on there. They may not be one of our chief musical exports, but they are uniquely American. No one was doing hair metal. No one was exporting culture like America in that era. Like, and if you go to Berlin, they're still living in that era. Like they're still addressing like Poison and John Bon Jovi. I mean, like that culture, it lives on in the Germans.
It's just, to me, it was a little bit shocking. Like, of all things, I expected maybe like, I don't know, maybe like an AC/DC song might be a little more popular around the world. Maybe I don't know. I guess the thing about Bon Jovi is like they're, it's accessible, right? Everyone can listen to it, and everybody. I don't know. It was
Plus, dude,
truly amazing to us.
He had. I mean, they wrote great songs. I mean, first and foremost, and it always comes down, like the great American bands, like the rock bands. It always comes down to a singer-songwriter who can really belt and the lead guitar player, right? You put Richie Sambora with John Bon Jovi.
The guitar player's name.
Oh yeah. I mean, I wasn't even like a huge I wasn't even a huge fan of theirs, but they had some pretty big hits, and the thing about Bon Jovi, I mean, that guy's range was out of this world. I mean, he got so high, and he was able to belt so loudly. It was like Steve Perry of Journey, like that really high. Was he like a tenor or something? And yet, like the power he was able to put behind those notes,
and the hair.
That is
the hair was second to none, frankly.
That is without a doubt, and his hair still looks great. He's got like Kevin Bacon level hair.
I'm pretty sure it was "Living on a Prayer." I'm pretty sure "Living on the Prayer" was a song that all those people were singing, and it was something, man. I mean, I would have expected that like a Portuguese song would have been the one that everybody was singing and excited about. But
yeah, that's funny.
Bon Jovi.
Look, I could talk about Bon Jovi all day, but we got some stuff to talk about here, Lewis. Shout out to Richard Lopez. He says, you guys have done this 10 years, slightly longer, I think. I think we're getting close to 11, believe it or not. And I've been listening since day one. Yeah. Give us one of those rock screams, Lewis.
Thank you for your support.
Give us one of those rock shouts, Lewis.
I don't know how I could do, man. I think I got the COVID.
Man, that's with COVID. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's a COVID scream. It still worked. And shout out to Brad Thomas. I love hearing from the Gov Club. Dan DeWitt says, "Hey, okay, let's get the moderator in here. Let's get the moderator in here. Stat, get this guy out of here. Put the steel toe right in his keister. Take it halfway up till it gets to the hilt of your ankle.
Lander's asleep by now, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, he's probably passed out on this couch from all the vaping he does. All right, everyone. Let's see here. Before we dive in, wait a second.
Before we dive into the digression.
I was hoping we could keep this short, but of course, we have failed to do that already. We're already 20 minutes in. I wanted to show this picture of Lewis in his Oktoberfest attire, and I made fun of him a little bit for it, but I kid you not, like I think I need to get myself some Lederhosen. So I'm putting up a picture right now for those of you who are watching live. Shoot, where'd it go? Oh, whoops! It's on this page. You can see there is Them darn accordions. Did I say that right, Lewis?
Those
darn
darn
accordions. Look at this. Look at this beer lycan on the left. Look at this guy.
Not the best photo edit, man. I look like I'm a little bit intoxicated, which couldn't be true. I mean,
yeah. Look at all of you. A little bit look at this lady in blue. She's about to pass out, Lewis. This guy's right behind her.
she was completely sober.
She was?
Yeah, this is a bad edit. This is a not.
I don't know if I
good
believe you.
And these live photos. That's one thing's great about the live photos. You can scan through, you find the perfect thing. But of course, I was in a hurry and I didn't do that. And there you go.
Man, this Lederhosen looks fantastic. I need to get myself some Lederhosen.
That was a great Oktoberfest, man. The Northwood Public House in Battleground, Washington, which frankly,
this is
the next time we play there, you've got to come and see us, man.
Oh, man.
Because that's right in your backyard.
Well, I mean, it's like 2 hours away, but
yeah, I mean, it's within range.
Yeah.
And that is a great place. They have great food. I've played, as you alluded, I've played many Oktoberfest, many places all over the country. That place treats you as a musician
the way a musician should be treated.
Like, oh, here's some more beer. Here's some more beer. And you take a break. Here's some food. And the food is delicious. And the beer is awesome. They make their own beer. And they import some great German beer and some regional beer. Great place. Can't say enough great things about Northwood Public House. If you're anywhere near there, it's about a half hour north of Portland, Oregon.
Oh, it's near Portland. Oh, dude, that's like then yeah, it's 2.5 hours away from Seattle. It's like as far as Portland is practically on the border of Oregon, so you're practically in Oregon at that point.
Yeah, you should just drive down there this weekend and have lunch because it's fantastic.
I think I might do that. I'm not even gonna tell my family. I'm gonna just leave. I'm gonna just leave and just disappear. And when my wife texts me, I'm like, I'm in Battleground. Sorry, babe.
It's totally family friendly. Take the whole crew, man.
Yeah,
giant places.
I definitely want my kids around this motley crew right here. These are the people that I want to be around my kids.
It is a great family friendly restaurant.
Especially this guy on the left.
Yeah, well, oh God, I look like about ready to.
Dude, you
I look
are
like
the
I've
beer
taken
lycan.
a couple of hits already, to the face.
You took some hits.
Looks kind of swollen. It's not good.
And to the pride, perhaps. I mean, look at this guy.
Wow.
Look, the one thing I was going to tell everyone was, if you want to score yourself just a beautiful pair of Lederhosen, I was like,
wow, the digression continues.
I was like, where'd you get these, Lewis? He's like, Lederhosen4u.com. And the 4 is a number and the U is a U. Isn't that great? Let me see do I have this up here? I think I have it up here somewhere. Oh yeah, there we go. I mean, just imagine me in a pair of these. Look how beautiful these are.
Gotta get some, man.
God, dude, I mean, they're not cheap. $190, but honestly, I thought they would be more than this. I mean, these are clearly like handcrafted, and the stitching is absolutely beautiful. And I would just wear these around the house. I think my wife would like that. Honestly, I would do it shirtless, of course. I mean, look at those. I look like Pinocchio in these things.
Send us pictures.
Oh, man. Okay. Should we do some Apple stories here? I gave them a plug. I should send them a bill for this. They're going to get thousands of orders now.
You didn't even talk about Cult Cast. You might as well forget it. I mean, Cult Cloth.
Let's just go ahead and wrap it up there. Honestly,
everybody knows. Cultcloth.co.
.co.
Great place to buy some cloths.
Man, I'm glad that you brought that up. Since you brought it up, let me just talk a little bit about cultcloth.co. What a great way to keep your
opportunity.
Keep your gadgets sparkling clean. I mean, you guys just won't believe how well these things work. You wipe them across your phone, your sunglasses, your anything that's made of metal, glass, plastic, and they leave nothing behind but sparkling glass and metal. You use a little of this action, just a little bit of fog action on there. Fog it up a little bit, and fog it up and wipe it down. That's my new motto. Fog it up, wipe it down, and that thing will sparkle. Sparkle like you have never seen anything sparkle before. And if you just got yourself a new iPhone 14, keep it looking new. Got yourself a new MacBook Pro, a new iPad, maybe you bought a new TV, or maybe you're going to be getting a new device here pretty soon. Have your coat cloth ready and waiting for you. And we have this new cloth that you probably all already know about, but just in case, it's the Coat Cloth Duo. You can get in a pack of other cloths that will keep any device that you have, your glasses, sparkling clean. It's got long fibers on one side, short fibers on the other, so it's perfect for the heavy-duty jobs like keyboards, but also the other side's great for screens. So you spray a little screen cleaner on there if you want to. You don't need to, but you can. Makes it go a little bit faster. And actually, for some like really soiled screens, it's good to use a little bit of screen cleaner so you're not having to go like 20 times and clean the thing up. and then you just clean up your device, and it just every time I use it, I just can't believe how well these things work. And the long fibers will reach down around the lenses of your camera on your iPhone and clean around there too. Like most microfiber that you buy out there is cheaply made and doesn't go through the same process that ours goes through to break down the surface area and increase the cleaning power. But they also don't have fibers that are long, so they can't go and clean around the cracks of your case, between your iPhone and your case, around the lenses, around the area between your lenses and like the frame of your glasses, your sunglasses. Like nothing catches that like cold cloth does.
So there's actually, that's your catchphrase.
What's that?
When your crack needs cleaning, get cold cloth.
You're a marketing genius, Liz. Have I ever told you that? Cleaning cracks since 2015. Cleanest crack you've ever had. Coldcloth.co. And if you use code COLDCAST at checkout, you'll score yourself a free clean cloth, 8x8 clean cloth with any order. Oh shoot! Actually, oh man, we still have this going. I don't know how long this is gonna last. We're doing a free coat cloth duo, extra coat cloth duo with any order. But by the time you go there, it might be gone. Might be gone by the time you go there, because I actually didn't even realize that this was still going. So I'm gonna have to slap around my team.
Who's running that place?
Well, I have a whole team of professionals, and someone screwed up big time. Big time. So if you catch that deal, good for you. If not, well, you can use code COLDCAST to get a clean cloth, a free 8x8 clean cloth. Lewis, we're 30 minutes in. We haven't talked about a single story of Apple News.
Dear heavens.
So let's do that real fast, shall we? Let's start off with I was talking about the Hulk roller coaster earlier. And dude, let me just tell you, if you take your iPhone 14 on the Universal Studios Orlando Hulk ride, or the Velocicoaster, which is one of the most insane roller coasters I've ever been on, you better turn off crash detection. You better turn your phone off, because that ride is literally bringing medics to the bottom level to catch people who are feeling a little queasy. And some people are passing out on the ride, like no joke. But there's also another problem, isn't there, Lewis? Oh yeah.
Yeah, tell us all about it.
Yeah, sorry, it's me. I was preparing the handoff, but clearly it's just me. Yeah, so big problem with the iPhone 14 crash detection. Of course, this is something that Apple would never have imagined would have been a problem, but these rides are so violent and it's so intense that your iPhone 14 might think that you've been in an accident because you're flying all over the place, and it's like clearly you've been in some serious situation, and so it's dialing 911 on your behalf. And they've had a whole swath of these. Let's see here. Oh yeah, Joanna Stern reporting, since the iPhone 14 went on sale, the 911 dispatch center near Kings Island Amusement Park has received at least 6 phone calls saying the owner of this iPhone was in a severe car crash, except the owner was just on a roller coaster. And I don't know what they do in these instances. Let's see here. Oh, I guess you can turn off crash detection if you're going to be going on a roller coaster. Go into settings and then emergency SOS and toggle off call after severe crash. And if you're going to be going to University of Orlando, dude, I would definitely do this, because those rides are totally nuts. Like if you guys heard the last show where I talked about Velocicoaster or the Hulk ride, those things, I can see why they would think you're in a car crash. I mean,
whipping you around like a rag doll in a pit bull's mouth.
They're barely legal, man. I mean, I like that was one of the things I was commenting about with my friends after I went on that ride. I was like, how do they figure out how to take you right up to the edge and not injure you?
Like endurance.
You know what I mean? Like, do they use crash test dummies or something? Because
sure. Think about all the ones that are lying in a heap.
All the broken ones. Like, how many necks did they break preparing that roller coaster? Because, like, especially the Hulk one, man. Like, I don't want to go on too much about this because I know you guys have heard me talk about this, but that Incredible Hulk ride, I mean, it gets you up to like 60 miles an hour in a second or two. It shoots you like almost straight up. And the moment you come out of the roller coaster pipe where it's launching you, it immediately spins you upside down and takes you back down. And it's like your head just whips around, whips back, and then that's just the start. It gets even more insane from there. Like wow. As I was getting on the ride, I was honestly questioning whether or not I wanted to be there. But I was like, I can't leave now. I everyone's gonna make fun of me if I
You
leave.
gotta do it.
I got to do it now. You know.
I,
So yeah.
Kings Island is actually that was the amusement park near where I grew up. That was
Really?
the place that we went every summer, and that was the old days, right? I mean, like they had the Beast, which was the fastest roller coaster, fastest wooden roller coaster anywhere, right? And it was awesome, but I don't think that your phone would have called and said you were in a car wreck. I mean, yeah, you went fast, you tilted or whatever, but I mean, they weren't jerking you around like the way these modern rides sound, man. It sounds crazy.
Oh,
I
dude.
haven't been to an amusement park in 20 years or something, but
The Velocicoaster too, like the whole thing is just intimidating because the whole ride goes up over the walkway, so you can see what everyone's doing. And when you go in there, I think I mentioned this in the last show, you got to go through like airport level security screening. And there's warning signs everywhere that talk about like if you have any of like this long list of conditions, do not go on this ride. You gotta empty your pockets of everything and put it all in these lockers because they don't want anything flying out of your pockets at 70 miles an hour. And about halfway through that ride, I thought we were getting close to being done. And this dude next to me who asked me if I had been on it before, but when I got on, and I was like, no. And he's like, he just shook his head. He's like, you're a goner. Like we were on this flat stretch and I thought we were getting ready to like end the ride. And he turns to me and goes, here it comes. And I was like, here what comes? Here what comes? And we were probably going 40 at that point, and then it just the rocket thrusters ignite, and you just blast back into your seat, and your face goes, like your cheeks go back, and it blasts you up to 70 miles an hour, and then that's when you do phase 2 of the ride, which is even faster than phase 1, and it takes you upside down on the track, except normally when you go upside down, you're going like loop to loops, but this one it just takes you upside down. You're going 70, but you're upside down on a flat stretch, and you're literally hanging. Your buns are not even touching your seat anymore at this point. Gravity's taken over, and you're hanging by the bar that is overneath your shoulders. And if that overneath your shoulders,
you had to invent a new word to explain this.
And if that thing goes from overneath to out of neath, your brain is going from underneath to outerneath your head. You're gonna hit that thing, and your nose is gonna be your brake.
It's kind of crazy that these things don't give people concussions. I mean, I guess
they're
not quite. I mean, obviously,
that's my point. How do they know?
Well, they test them.
I mean, I just don't know how you would measure that. Like, how do you know how much velocity and how tight the turns can be? I don't know.
Put an iPhone in the crash test dummy's pocket.
Maybe. Anyway, so if you're going to go on a roller coaster, you've been warned. Make sure you turn off crash detection. Otherwise, you might get hit with a 911 bill upon your conclusion of the roller coaster.
One of the things they mentioned was that maybe turning on airplane mode might turn that stuff off.
At least it couldn't call 911, could it? If you did that?
Yeah, if nothing else, right?
Or maybe it would overwrite it. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure.
Knows?
But here's the thing, though. I just thought about this. If you have an iPhone, you can't bring that on one of these rides anyway. There's no way they would let you bring an iPhone on the Hulk. You're going to turn that thing into a projectile.
Apple Watch has crash detection too.
Oh shoot! Yeah,
the latest Apple Watch.
That is true.
Apple Watches, all the latest SE, the Ultra, and the Series 8.
Yeah. So either way, the cops are coming.
Yeah.
Cut you off.
At least they won't arrest you or anything. Just like, I'm
no,
fine.
they just give you the paddles.
I'm fine. I can barely stand up, but I'm fine.
And you know what? For some of those people, when they show up, it will actually be good because you actually needed them.
Jeez.
Like I was telling you, I was reading that Google article, and they're saying that there's a lot of people that pass out on these rides. Can you even imagine? You're on a freaking roller coaster, you pass out, and you wake up, and it's still going, and you're like, ah!
Oh, wow.
Like that experience where you're kind of coming to, and you're still, oh, dude, that is scary.
Sounds frightening for sure.
Speaking of scary, in this interview with Steve Jobs, this AI-generated interview with Steve Jobs, I think might be in this category, Lewis. I don't know where you found this story. I know where it lives, cultamac.com. But I didn't see anything about this.
Really?
And I didn't watch either. Let me see if I can bring it up.
It's pretty widely picked up. It's all audio.
It's audio only.
Yeah. So what we have is a a podcast interview, Joe Rogan interviewing Steve Jobs, and it's all generated using artificial intelligence. It's like a 20-minute interview.
Is Joe Rogan's voice also AI?
Yeah,
Okay.
all artificially generated.
The whole thing is okay. So the whole thing is fake. Man, we did that show on AI generated artwork a while back.
Yeah.
I went down a rabbit hole after that. We both
Mhm.
did. We both did.
Sure.
We were using those machine
It's
learning
wild.
artwork generators, and the kind of things that machine learning can pull off now is unlike anything I imagine would be possible. You know, let's check this out. Should we check out a? Oh, you know what? I'm not sure we can do this. I'm not sure we can because I have mix minus turned on, so your audio isn't feeding back. Let me see if I can Is there any way I can download this? Probably not.
Oh dear heavens.
Oh, maybe I can just do this. Ready?
All content is generated by artificial intelligence.
This is the intro.
Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, freak bitches.
Oh gee. Right off the bat.
You didn't tell me there's going to be cuss words in here.
Well,
My apologies. Let's see.
I thought maybe you might listen to it before you played it.
I think he called himself the Road Jogan Experience.
The bro joking, yeah.
The bro
so it
joking.
goes
Okay, just
on
so it doesn't get
and,
Okay, let's hope all the. My apologies. Maybe I'll
forward a couple.
yeah. Okay, let me skip forward a little bit. Yeah, and we'll start this. Okay, here we go. That sounded exactly like Joe Rogan, by the way. Here we go. Part 2.
And on this episode, I welcome my friend who's difficult to describe. I'm fascinated by him, and I hope you'll be too. And he is weird and brilliant.
Dude, that voice
Sounds exactly like Rogan.
sounds exactly like him. Exactly like him. Wow. Okay, I'm getting to the Steve Jobs part. Here we go.
And sometimes and he's always pushing his next computer, even more famous for making 3 applications, even like one for a long time. Like Patrick Swayze, and it's difficult to describe. Wonderful, and I'm so grateful he came on the show.
How's it going? Good to see you, buddy. It's been a long time since I've been on the show.
Wow.
I've missed this. It's always fun.
How's it going? Come on, tell me about jobs. It's always good to see you, buddy. I'm so happy you came on, man.
Yeah, it's great to be on the show. Your audience is just so different from your normal Apple users, and that's a good thing. It's cool.
I mean, like the actual content itself is like clearly it's like this doesn't sound like humans.
It's weird, man. If you listen, I mean, it goes, like I said, it goes on for 20 minutes, and some of the stuff, like mostly, I would say Steve Jobs' voice sounds like Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
The sort of pacing, the cadence, the rhythm of it is a little off. It's a little too fast. I mean, if you watch him talking in interviews and things, he's usually a little more. He has like the gift for the pause, right? Like he doesn't just keep talking at a certain pace and so that part of it sounds a little fake. The Rogan stuff sounds real.
The Rogan stuff is like spot on. It sounds exactly like him.
But another thing though is if you listen to this whole thing, I mean, parts of this are plagiarized. Parts of the things that the Steve Jobs voice reads are quotes from Walter Isaacson's biography, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if the AI just ingests all this. I mean, it's even actually possible that the AI ingests the audio of Joe Rogan and spits some of that up, and some of that's actually the voice of Joe Rogan. I don't know. I mean, they say it's all artificially generated, but like where's it coming from? How's it getting mixed up by the AI, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, it's pretty creepy, sounds pretty real, and I think we're gonna be in trouble in a few years.
Dude, did you hear that? Did you hear that Bruce Willis sold his likeness to movies? Let's see, Bruce Willis. Let's see here, because Bruce Willis has apophasia. Is that what it's called?
Aphasia.
Aphasia.
Difficulty talking.
So it's something that happens like
Can't string words together. Common after you have a stroke.
Okay, so maybe this is not true. There was a story that Bruce Willis sold his likeness to Hollywood or to some production company so that they could use him in movies in the future. But it looks like that may not be true,
He
according to
denied
this.
it, right?
Yeah,
Or
this
his people denied it.
Hollywood Reporter story. So apparently not. But we are in an era. We're in such an interesting era where, for the first time in my lifetime, you literally can't trust something that you see or that you hear. And I think that's been true in the past. Like you could Photoshop stuff, like a picture or something, and make
Harvey
people.
Oswald with a gun.
Yeah, I mean, you can do all sorts of crazy stuff in Photoshop. I think people are used to that. But like an actual video, like you can see a video footage of someone talking, and it's actually machine learning generating that, or a person that has like some kind of like overlay of your face using motion capture technology in real time, and then voice altering technology, and they're literally talking and becoming another person entirely. And there was this one video I saw on TikTok where I'm like, they were going back and forth between this person and like this machine learning generated person, and I honestly couldn't tell you which one was real. I had no idea because they both look so real. And there was like a huge leap forward in this kind of movie technology, which I think I've mentioned on the show before. There was this YouTube guy. I think he still does this stuff occasionally, and he was just like this lone guy using deepfake technology to insert or to change the actors in different movies. So I think like he changed Indiana Jones to be Tom Selleck, and it looked amazing. Like it looked incredible. And this guy was so good that Disney actually hired him, and they used his technology on the new Boba Fett show. And there are some cameos that happen in that show that also happened in The Mandalorian. In The Mandalorian, those cameos looked like doo-doo. They looked terrible. And then those same cameos happen in Boba Fett, and I was like, dude, what happened? Like this looks so much more natural. It looks like a real human. And
when you say cameos, you mean cameos by dead actors?
I mean cameos, not necessarily by dead people, but cameos by actors that have existed in other Star Wars content that wouldn't necessarily, that they're not the same age anymore, right? So like they wouldn't be able to reprise like the roles like the same way they did before. And then in Boba Fett, they brought some of these actors back to life in their original format, and it was like one of the most amazing feats of like, I don't know, AI machine learning that I've ever seen. It looked incredible. And for those of you that have watched, Boba Fett, you probably know what I'm saying. But they brought this guy in to do this work because he had pioneered like this new way of creating like merging deepfake technology and creating new computer generated imagery and video of different actors. And we're in a new era where that kind of thing is going to be popular. I mean, just imagine like with Twitter, things move so fast. Someone creates like a president or a politician saying something, and it looks real, and it goes viral. By the time that person refutes it, it's already gone across the whole world.
Wakes up.
Yeah, and even if they did refute it, like, you know, once something goes out there, you can't. That's it. You can't convince people they didn't see what they saw. You know what I mean? Or that it's not real. Like people don't believe you. So it's really kind of creepy and scary.
Did you see the image that we had on that post?
Let me bring it back.
It was also created by AI, but it's interesting and pretty accurate. But it shows you how they get things wrong.
Oh, this image was created by, which one was used? Which generator was used for this?
Hot Pots AI art maker.
Okay, I haven't heard of that one.
Steve Jobs doing a podcast. Well, that's the thing. There's so many of these things now.
Wow. I mean, that's the other thing that we talked about, right? Like with these AI that generate artwork, it's almost an art form to describe what you want to these generators, because like the better you are at that, like the better chance you have of getting an image that you actually want. But I was reading this article about how these artwork generators, like these machine learning generators, might replace artists, and I was like, I kind of brushed it off. I was like, that's ridiculous, because you're always going to have artists. They're always going to need you to create something specific, and you might need to create like some kind of like new alien something for a movie, right? So they're going to need your your imagination. They can't just replace that. But then I was thinking about it, and I was using the generators that you and I were using, and I was like, well, I think that's actually kind of half true. It's not going to replace all artists, but if you just need a piece of artwork for a blog or for a t-shirt or for a mug, you could probably just get away with using one of these generators because it's going to create something in a certain style. And these things are only going to get better as the years go on. Like if you're like, create me a Steve Jobs in the year 1510 wearing a suit of armor, like it's going to be able to do something like that.
And holding an iPhone.
Holding an iPhone at the end of a joust, it's like, it's totally going to be able to do something like that in 5 years. I mean, it could probably do that now. It might not look the best, but you can get some pretty interesting results if you're able to be verbose enough and specific enough to describe exactly what you want. But we're in the Wild West when it comes to this stuff. People have no idea. Like, until you've looked into this stuff, you have no idea, like, the undercurrent, how powerful this stuff is. And there's so many people in there tinkering with it now. This stuff used to be kind of like esoteric and hard to use, but now there are applications that you can literally just download and use to create all of this like AI generated artwork. I mean, it's progressing so fast now. So I didn't realize that this was AI generated. Like, that's pretty cool, man. Like, if you put that on a mug, people might buy it.
The turtleneck's the wrong color.
Well, see, that's why you got to be specific. Steve Jobs doing a podcast in a black turtleneck.
Yeah.
That would have got
It's
you.
weird, though. Like, have you ever seen him in a white one? Very odd.
I honestly didn't even notice. It looks like he's doing a Hanes commercial. He looks good in white, too. Look at
that. One of the in Slack, we were talking about it. It's like, well, maybe the AI assumed that, since he's dead, he's in heaven. He's got the
Oh,
white.
There you go. People are asking
heavenly raiment.
People are asking us why we're doing a late night cult cast. It's because Lewis is traveling tomorrow, and I was gone all day today, so we were like, okay, we gotta step it up and do a late night cult cast.
Jet Set edition.
The dark cast, yeah, which is kind of interesting. It kind of changes the mood, doesn't it, Lewis?
I think we could go for 4 hours, no problem.
Lewis is drinking. Oh yeah, that's a real problem for us going short. All right, Lewis, let's keep the thing moving here. Do we want to talk about MetaQuest Pro?
It's up to you.
Let me
man.
ping the chat. Does anyone want to hear us talk about MetaQuest Pro? The only reason we were thinking this was interesting is because, Facebook has changed their name to Meta because they think that Metaverse is the future, and they just launched like their flagship product, the MetaQuest Pro. It's $1,500. It's a virtual reality headset, and Joanna Stern from the Wall Street Journal was reviewing it, and she's like, "Yeah." And I was doing some research, and I was looking at the pictures. And I was like, this is it? This is what you got after all the hype? This is it? Okay, Salvador says yes. Let's just do it real fast, Lewis. Let's do it real fast.
Yeah,
Let's crank it out.
$1,500 virtual reality headset. And her headline was, it's for working in the metaverse.
Yeah.
And this is what this all gets down to. Like, what is this for, right? And so she said, I'm quoting from her review. This isn't really about fun. Unlike other companies who casually throw around the pro label, wonder who she's talking about, Meta is really aiming this at professionals. The new features are for architects, engineers, and designers, along with early adopters who just want to move beyond flat screens. And by the way, this thing, they started taking orders this week. It's going to reach consumers October 25. That's 2 weeks from now, right?
Yeah.
She also asked, is the Quest Pro the gadget that convinced us all to migrate to the metaverse?
No.
And her answer was, of course, nope. She did say that it's better than the last one, whatever that thing's called, the Quest 2 or whatever. I can't even remember. MetaQuest 2, I think is what the current one is called. She said it's lighter, more comfortable. It's got some openings that allow peripheral vision, so you're not, you don't feel like you're locked in a box. Better visuals that are due to pancake optics. Like, that's the kind of eyepiece or whatever you call it that Apple's reportedly using.
Mm-hmm.
And she said in demos things look less pixelated, more realistic. So that's good news. There's still no legs on the avatars because as Zuckerberg says, legs are hard.
Well, they only have like $30 billion, you know?
You know why they said legs are hard? And this makes sense if you think about it. It's because they don't have any cameras on that headset that are looking at the bottom part of your body, right? I mean, like they're only looking at your face, and this thing, this new version, it's looking at your face, and it's so it can kind of react, to what you're doing or whatever. I don't. It's whole thing just sounds nutty to me. Comes with 2 controllers. You can use a stylus right on a virtual whiteboard. Battery lasts 1 to 2 hours, which big relief there actually.
Yeah.
As she said, you might only squeeze in 2 decent Metaverse meetings a day. Okay, maybe that's its best selling point. I mean, that's what you want out of a product,
I can't
right?
do anymore.
Sick burn.
Well, that would be a bummer. I mean, look how immersive these meetings are. I mean, it looks like what was that game from like the year 2005, like One Life or something?
Second Life.
Second Life.
Yeah.
Like the graphics
I mean,
just don't look good,
Just don't get it, and I just don't understand why Apple's doing it. I mean, I hope to God that when they come out with something, I strap it on my head and it makes sense to me. But they're going to have to make it make sense, because everything I've seen is just like, this is what the fuck was that?
Sorry, I dropped something. I'm not trying to be a Luddite here, and I applaud that. I don't want to. We don't know what this thing is going to be capable of in 5 years, so I don't want to Steve Ballmer myself right here and be like, a phone that's not subsidized without a keyboard. Who would ever buy that?
Steve Ballmer is now a verb.
But I also do not see how this is going to work. I really just don't see it. It feels like a solution in search of a problem, and they had some examples of like people playing video games in this dang thing, and I'm like, dude, do you know gamers at all? Like the Connect, people didn't want to use the Connect because it was too much work. You had to like stand up and move around and all that there's all this kind of thing, and then there was the Wii, and that was like cool. It was a popular console. Then people got tired of that because they didn't want to do motion, and now they're expecting you to do like fitness and stuff on these things. That's like you have a giant pair of goggles strapped to your head while you're sweating and doing like exercise. That seems like a tough sell to me personally. I think the only realm where this actually might make sense is actually in productivity and doing meetings. And they have a partnership with Microsoft that they've announced where they're going to be integrating with Teams and stuff. And there might be some really cool uses that you could get from using this with Teams and that type of thing. But like having virtual meetings with a bunch of your coworkers, I just think that notion is so frivolous. Like, why would anyone want to do that? You can just have
Zoom
a Teams
on
meeting
steroids. Nobody wants to do a Zoom meeting anyway. So like, okay, now it's even more weird and synthetic.
Yeah, and you have like these little digital representations of yourself that you have to create, and like you're all sitting there in the metaverse watching a meeting together. Like that whole notion of that, I just don't get it.
Did you ever see the movie Sleep Dealer?
No.
This is from like 2008 sci-fi movie. It's about people in I don't know, Mexico or South America or whatever. They're like migrant workers, but they do it by plugging in using virtual reality to control these robots in the States. And that's I just keep looking at this and going, where are we headed with this stuff, man? I mean, can we have a little bit of humanity here? Does this have anything to do with what human beings want to do? I mean, some of the reports I've read about this, I don't think we have. This wasn't in her review. This was in a news story about this week. But it's like basically saying people that are at Facebook working on this aren't using it because they don't want to use it, right?
Yeah.
It's their job to make it better.
Yeah.
And they won't use it because nobody wants to eat the dog food.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I keep coming back to is like no one wants to do this kind of thing that I know of. And I know Apple's working on something too that's supposed to be really cool, but they're going to have to convince us that this is something that we want and something that we need. And maybe they'll be able to do that. It would have to replace either your phone or your laptop, obviously, for otherwise it's just an additional purchase, and you're not going to get a lot of people to spend an extra $1,500 on something like this because they want to have a Zoom meeting.
I would say if anybody can, Apple can, because they're very good at boiling down essential, technology into essential things, right? They're very good about making it seem obvious why you want to do this, and making it seem natural and enticing, right? That's their it's not their core competency, but it's one of their core competencies. It's one of the things that they do better than anybody else. They make things seem desirable.
Digital touch, Lewis. Digital touch.
I was excited about digital touch for a minute and a half.
Everyone was excited about it when Apple was on stage talking about it. And then you got it, and you're like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this watch?
Kind of weird if I sent Earth
Yeah.
on my heartbeat.
I sent all these dudes my heartbeat just to test it out. Yeah, I mean, there have definitely been some misses on Apple's part too, because you don't know what's going to work. I mean, you think you might have a good idea, but until you actually deploy it and the realities of deploying something and trying to convince people that they might want it and why they should buy it, that's a completely different thing. And the execution is everything, right? And there's the marketing behind it. But again, we know that Apple's working on this headset too, which is one of the reasons why I think this is interesting. But I have not seen any use cases for this yet. It's like 3D TVs, man. Do you remember how popular 3D TVs were for a while? And I just kept thinking to myself,
hyped they were.
They were
popular?
mega hyped. And we kept getting told they were the future. And I'm like, dude, no one wants to sit and watch a 3D TV. The experience is diminished. You got to wear these goggles, which dims the screen and mutes the colors. And it's like this extra expense. And they kept pushing it. And then, much to my surprise, one day it just died. It was like gone. There's not a single 3D TV on the market for 3 years. It was like the thing, right? In TVs, it's like 3D television, and they had different versions with different glasses and
movies
then,
too.
poof.
Do they even release movies in 3D anymore? I can't remember
don't think
last
so.
time I heard about
Well,
such
you
a
can go to the movie theater and I think see stuff in
They still
3D,
do like
don't they?
VLD, and I don't know.
I think so,
I have
yeah.
no idea. I haven't heard of such a thing in a long time. Of course, COVID kind of screwed everything up. So
Salvador is saying corporate would buy this for meetings. It's not a lot of money for a quick test and say we did that. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I could definitely see corporations buying this. So, and that's where I see this having the most success is in the corporate world. I mean, I could totally see Microsoft deploying these for like Teams meetings and giving them to their employees. I mean, they buy their employees at like $1,000 chairs. So, why not buy them something like this? And Microsoft wants to have their software everywhere, so they'll probably have people inside Microsoft using it. And there will be people who are like, they just want to be early adopters. They want to try it out, and they'll use it. But I'm just thinking of like the average person looking at this, and it's like, you want me to spend $1,500 on this? Like, why? Like, why would I do that? Like, I want to do fitness. I want to play virtual basketball. I didn't even want to play basketball video games when I had to stand up before using the Kinect or the Wii. Why would I spend $1,500 to have the same experience? It's worse because I have to wear something on my head that probably weighs 2 pounds, and I'm sweating into it. I mean, that just grosses me out just right there. It's like, you've got this, you're sweating, right? I don't know about you, but my forehead gets pretty sweaty, and now you're wearing something on your head that is like, it's like pressed against your forehead as you're sweating. That's just gross, man. I personally couldn't do that. All right, Lewis, we're going long, and I can tell your eyes are getting droopy.
what?
Yeah, you got droopy eyes.
Come on now.
You're going full droopy dog.
I don't feel like that's true. I feel like that's an inaccurate representation. If only I had a virtual reality headset that I could put on so you could see just how excited
That's
I
the
am.
future of the show right there is virtual reality.
Yeah.
Everyone has like a little cartoon person. We all sit in the same room together. That might actually be cool, actually, come to think of it. All right, let's move on. We got some cool photos or some cool features coming to iCloud and to Apple Music. And look, Lewis makes fun of me for promoting these stories, but you know what? I know not everyone gets to live that Apple only lifestyle. I'm broadcasting from the Colt Commander, a NASA level, NSA level machine that I built myself. It's a PC. And I often have to interact with PCs in my everyday life. And you know what? I'm not embarrassed to admit I love PCs. I love PC culture. I love RGB lights. I love building PCs. I've built more PCs than I can count. I love, figuring out what parts I'm going to buy. I love, going after great GPU deals. My main machine is a MacBook Pro, and that's what I edit on. And video and audio, but I also love PC. And I think it's really cool that Apple is adding new iCloud features to Windows. I mean, they added the iCloud passwords extension to Chrome, and dude, that was game changing for me, because I hated having my passwords for my PC and then my passwords for my MacBook Pro. And yeah, there's software that you can buy or rent that does that. But like for me, I just wanted to keep it simple. And I was like, well, I already have all my passwords stored in online keychain. So why can't I just use these on PC? And so they added that extension, and now you can. So now I can, use my passwords on my Windows machine. Well, now you can also access iCloud photo libraries in Windows. At least you'll be able to soon. So let me see. As the story goes, it should soon be much easier to access your iPhone's photo collection on a Windows-based PC. Microsoft is updating Windows 11 with the option to directly view iCloud photos in the Photos app. You won't need your browser, just an iCloud app from the Microsoft Store. So as long as your iCloud account has enough space, geez, yeah, I'm almost out of space, and I see no option for myself. You might never need to manually transfer photos to your Windows machine. Well, you don't need to do that anyway. I mean, apparently this writer doesn't know that this feature already exists. So you could sync photos via iCloud on your Windows machine. And this is one of the best uses for your Windows machine. So when you buy a Mac, let me give you guys a pro tip here.
Oh, no. Pro
tip time. You guys ready for this? When you buy a Mac, the storage is expensive, right? So if you want to buy a 2 terabyte Mac, you might have to spend like an extra, $400 to $600 or whatever they charge for it now. But with my Cult Commander PC, I installed iCloud on it. Apple has software that you can install, and I have it download all of my iCloud photos directly to a folder on my PC. And you can buy, I just saw a deal yesterday for a 18 terabyte hard drive for $240. 18 terabytes. That is a wacky amount of storage. And if you have a drive like that in your NAS or in your Windows machine, you can just download your entire iCloud photo library to your PC. And believe me, you should. If you don't have a backup of your iCloud photo library, trust me from experience, that could come back to bite you, because your photos are not secure in iCloud. I thought mine were, but they're not. My photo library got corrupted. I lost a bunch of images. A lot of images lost their high resolution version, so now I only have the low resolution versions. And I thought it would be an easy fix, so I called Apple. And the very first thing the guy asked me, he's like, "Do you have a backup of this?" And I was like, "No, do I need one?" And he's like, "Oh,
jeez."
So it's good to have a backup. And the easiest way to back up your iCloud photo library is, at least that I found, is you just install the iCloud app on your PC, because you can, add a hard drive to your tower PC very easily if you have one, and then just download the entire thing to your PC. And that's what I do just to keep the whole thing backed up. And you can look at all your photos on your PC if you want. Actually, sometimes I just upload my photos directly to my PC and have it upload it to iCloud, because I have so much space on my PC that it's just easier to do it that way than to have to put them on my iPad or on my MacBook Pro, because then the original versions will live on those machines and you have less storage to work with from that point forward. So I think it's actually easier to manage your iCloud photo library in some ways from your PC. The other feature that is coming your way for you Apple Music fans is Apple Music is finally launching on Xbox. We live in a new era. Look at Apple launching all these apps on other platforms. I mean, how strange is this, right? So Apple Music is now available on recent versions of Microsoft's Xbox gaming console, and you can play songs while gaming. Let's see, the streaming service is already available on PlayStation and other third-party entertainment platforms. I didn't actually know that. And it looks like Apple TV and Apple Music are coming to Windows next year. So Apple is adding these new apps to Windows and to other platforms like crazy. And it's funny, I never would have imagined that we would get these apps in the Windows ecosystem or across like Samsung TVs. Like, it's just so weird. And this is what Apple needed to do with the freaking HomePod. They needed to open up the HomePod so that it played nice with other music services, other streaming services, and I think they would have done a lot better. Like the Echo does. I mean, you can freaking stream anything to that thing. And Apple wanted to keep the hardware locked down. It shot themselves in the foot. It made it less useful.
What did they gain by that? Nothing.
I mean, I think that that's like an antiquated strategy of theirs, right? So they keep it locked down, and then you only use Apple Music. But it's like, dude, people use other things in Apple Music. And so you are now selling a speaker that is only useful to people who have Apple Music.
Right, and I know tons of people who have iPhones, and they use Spotify.
Yeah, I use Spotify exclusively.
They don't like Apple Music.
Yeah, I don't like Apple Music. I like the fidelity of Apple Music, but there's something about the music experience that I don't like. And also, I think that Spotify's like music recommendation algorithm is just better than Apple Music. Apple Music, their service is built around like their curated playlists. I don't give a crap about your curated playlists. I don't care what music the people in San Francisco think I should listen to. I couldn't care less. Like, I want to hear song suggestions based upon the things that I already listen to. And that's what Spotify is really good at. It will tell you songs that it thinks you'll like, not things that its editors in another state like.
You should like.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want you to tell me what I should like. You know what I mean? I don't like most popular music. You know, I like to listen to older stuff. I listen to a lot of like
Living
soundtracks.
on a Prayer, for instance.
I listen to Live on a song I've been listening to almost on repeat. You guys are gonna laugh at me, but I'm gonna tell you the truth. I was at Disney World, and I was on the Mine Train ride, which is like this revamped Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs ride. And for some reason, Snow White and Seven Dwarfs it is so powerfully nostalgic to me. Like, it really reminds me of being a kid. And like being on that ride and being immersed in that world was nostalgic and fun. And at the end of the ride, you basically drive by Snow White's house, and like she's in there dancing with the Seven Dwarves, like this scene from the movie. And there's this song playing called I'm not gonna play it here. Obviously, we would get taken down in 2 seconds if I haven't tried to play it. It's let's see, do I have it here? No. I think it's called like the Silly Song. My kids really love it, and it's like this silly like Seven Dwarves song. And I've been streaming that. Like,
wow,
you know, and it's like, and now it's recommending me other like Disney movie soundtracks that some of them I really like. So, you know, I don't know.
It's not Hi Ho Hi Ho.
Hi Ho. I don't think so. I don't think it's that one. No, it's the Silly Song. Maybe I could play like 3 seconds of it without getting copyright striked. Let's see here. Probably not. I shouldn't even try it.
Don't risk it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try it. Let me see. Silly Song.
Dwarf's Yodel Song. The Silly Song.
Yes, that's it. It's the Silly Song. The Dwarfs Yodel Song. This song is silly. I mean, it's just like a bunch of like, you know, yodeling. But I
Very
like
Oktoberfest.
Yeah, it is actually, isn't it? I don't even know why am I even talking about this? I have no idea.
It's why you like Spotify.
Anyway, yeah, so
Because
Spotify is making all
it's
these.
going to recommend 17 other songs by dwarves.
Yeah, and Apple Music does that too, I know. And I have to admit, the sound quality on Apple Music is significantly better. I mean, it sounds noticeably better to me. So I've thought about going back to Apple Music, but there's just something I love about Spotify, man. Like, Spotify, it just does it better. It just does it better than Apple Music does, in my opinion. I know Lewis likes Apple Music. That's fine.
I just use it because it's, you know, I'm committed to the ecosystem.
I know.
There are things about it that I find annoying. Sometimes hard to like figure out how to use with their user interface. But
all right, Lewis. Let's wrap up with this last story.
What are you gonna do? I can't wait to listen to a silly song after the show's over.
You gotta go listen to it after the show's over. Can't play it for you here because it would be a silly mistake. YouTube would take us down in 2 seconds. I'd knock on my door and he'd be like, "Oh boy, I hear someone here owes me some royalties." Who's that? Oh, I'm gonna have to break your thumbs. Give me your hand.
He does look a little bit intimidating, actually. You know.
All right, let's talk about Lufthansa. And
sticks with the Oktoberfest theme.
Oh man, any chance I get to go
I
back
didn't even
to
realize it. Yeah. So, despite what you might have read this week, Lufthansa is not banning AirTags from checked bags. This I don't know if you saw this story.
I
I
did.
saw it several places. New York Times reported it. A bunch of places reported it.
I actually was going to put it in the show notes until I saw your update. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so I got a hold of Lufthansa. No, they're not banning AirTags or
Not anymore.
Tile or whatever. Well, it sounds like there's just a giant like kind of misunderstanding, right? I mean, they talked about this international air standards organization, and if you look in our post, they have that I talked to those people too. They sent a long like list of all the specifications for what it can be. A battery can weigh this much. The lithium in the battery can weigh this much. I mean, there's all kinds of, and some of the wording's a little squirrely, right? So I think that's what happened. Like Lufthansa read this and they're like, oh, we have to abide by this, so we're gonna not allow these on there. And they went on Twitter that they said no, we can't do this because whatever IOAC, I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, bottom line, it's all over. That's not happening. Lufthansa sent us an email today, said German aviation authorities confirmed today that they share Lufthansa's risk assessment. The tracking devices with very low battery and transmission power and checked luggage do not pose a safety risk. With that, these devices are allowed on Lufthansa flights, and Lufthansa is like the second, with all their subsidiaries, second biggest airline in Europe, or air
Really?
operation. Yeah, I mean they have, like, if you look at the list of subsidiaries, just a whole bunch of them.
Streamline from the chat. He's not buying it, Lewis. He says, just like PayPal isn't charging $2,500 for spreading misinformation. Oh, a big misunderstanding, huh? It's just a big misunderstanding.
Yeah, this is a little different from that. But yeah,
if Lufthansa said if they find an AirTag, they charge you $2,500.
I gotta say, man,
keep
I've
the
used
AirTag.
AirTags the last couple times we traveled, and I've got one in my base case. I've got one of my car keys, which I toss into a piece of luggage, and I've got another piece of luggage that has an actual AirTag with a fine water-filled AirTag holder on it. So I've got everything that I check has an AirTag in it or on it, and I gotta say, when I arrive, when I land and I turn airplane mode off, and it says, your bag is here, in Seattle or wherever it is that you just landed, that's a little bit reassuring. And then when you can look at it and see, like, okay, it's 2 minutes away from the luggage thing, that's pretty reassuring. And I mean, obviously that's not the main reason these things were created, right? But it is nice to be able to know where your luggage is. And God forbid, if for instance, I mean, it happens, right? One time we flew into Seattle and my base ended up God knows where, somewhere. I had to borrow a base for a gig once because Southwest lost my base, and I don't know if it would have helped, but I mean, if you had an AirTag, you say, oh well, actually, you sent my base to Phoenix. Maybe it would help them track it down a little faster. If nothing else, it's nice to have the information, right?
Man, so I was telling you before we started, like, I've got a story for you.
No.
So I went on this trip, right? And I have been using Find My more because you can have it notify you when you leave devices behind.
Yeah.
And I think I may have turned on too many notifications because it's notifying me about so many devices now that it's kind of hard to keep track of all my different devices. And I realized when I was in Orlando and I was packing to come home, I realized, you know what? I don't know where my AirPods Max are. And so I boot up Find Mine. It's like, oh, it says that they're still in Georgia. And I was like, oh, crap. Like, but the thing is, Find My I have found to be very unreliable. So I don't know how it is with the AirTags, but I had this exact same thing happen with my iPad. I left it on the trip, and it said last known location is in Leavenworth, Washington, which is where I was, and then that was it. And the same thing with my AirPods Max. It says last known location, Georgia. And I was using them. That was the last time I used them there. But it's like it doesn't track them after that. And so I actually don't know where they are. So we were at some family's house in Georgia, and they've searched their whole house. They're like, your AirPods Max are not here. I think I left them at an Airbnb in Cape Canaveral, and I'm thinking like the cleaners found them, or maybe someone stole them. But the AirPods Max, like I marked them as lost, and they're supposed to. I think they're supposed to work the same way. And help me out, chat, if you guys know the answer to this. Like they're supposed to connect to Apple's network via any iPhone that come near them, right?
Yeah.
So they should work the same way as an AirTag, and yet to this day, it still says that they're in Georgia. So I'm like, did no one with an iPhone walk through that house, or are they actually not there?
That's possible. Nobody with an iPhone walked in the house.
So should I tell the guy to like take your iPhone downstairs, hang out for 5 minutes? But most people have a phone everywhere with them, or with them everywhere they go. I mean, that whole house is filled with iPhones. So you would think that it would be able to locate. So now my AirPods Max are just lost. Like they're.
Oh wow!
You
So
know?
I don't know exactly what happens when the battery goes dead. I mean, you think the batteries are still?
Well, that is true. Like at a certain point, the batteries die, and then that's it, right? But the battery on those lasts a long time. Like when you're not using them, they last like a month.
Well, so does it not tell you like can you not pinpoint the address where it says they are? Or it says that they're at your relative's house?
Yeah, it says that they're there, but he's like, they're not here. And so maybe he's got himself a new pair of AirPods. I have no idea. But the other question is like, if you mark them as lost, or let's say the AirPods Max are tied to your account, right? Like, can someone just find them and then reset them and just start using them? I don't know how that works, because like with your iPhone, they can't. That is locked to your Apple account. But how does that work with the AirPods Max or your AirPods, right? Like,
I don't know.
Can someone hard reset them in some way?
I bet that you can, because I mean, there's no like lock on them or anything.
Well, there's no lock, but like,
Face ID.
but they're supposed to connect. Yeah.
I mean, they are connected to your account, but I don't know how.
But as soon as you connect them to your phone, like let's say someone picked them up and tried to use them, I don't know what would happen, but it would immediately show a message on their phone that says these have been lost. Please contact this number. And it would also ping Apple's server and say, "Whoop, we found them. We got a ping." So, because that did happen to me on my iPad, like I had the dang thing in airplane mode, and maybe it turned itself off. I don't know, but somebody must have walked by that iPad with an iPhone, because it did ping me a couple days later, and it was like, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's going off, dude, and it updated its location with a new time. So I'm like, okay, now I know for a fact they're still at this place that we were at. And I contacted them. They were able to find it, and they mailed it back to me. So it saved me. But with the AirPods Max, it's like no such luck, man. Like let me look right now. Let me take a look. Find My.
The tension.
Dude, you can do so much stuff with Find My that people don't even ever use. Like, I often use this as an example. Like, I will use I'll put a geofence around my wife's location, so that when she leaves or gets close to my house, I'm like, I know I got to do all those chores I told her I would do.
Time to clean the dishes.
Yeah, so it's like, she's like, oh, well, you do the dishes or whatever. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll totally do that. And then I just set the geofence, and then it pings me. It's like, she's like 2 miles from your house. And I'm like, oh, man, let me do this work real fast. Let's see here. No, man. Still says they're in Georgia as of September 16th, 2022.
Huh.
I am really...
As of what?
September 16th, 2022.
So, I mean, that's a long time, man. Surely the batteries must be getting...
Yeah, they might be. I mean, it's been almost a month. God, such a bummer.
Huh.
I mean, that's an expensive purchase to lose, you know?
Yeah, man. You're not supposed to lose those things.
And the thing is like the AirPods Max with an iPad is the perfect airplane movie machine. So I don't know if I told this. I'll tell this quick story just real quick. I don't like to fly. I get anxious on flights, and especially if there's turbulence, dude. Man, don't get me started on the flight home.
Hurricane induced.
Like Hurricane Ian, like Hurricane Ian winds. So we're on this flight. I'm on a flight by myself, headed to Georgia to meet up with my wife. This is when we were starting our vacation. I get on the plane. I'm already anxious. And then they sit me down, and there's a freaking baby, like an infant, across from me. And this thing's going berserk, man. This baby's not happy. And then also, I was seated right next to the wing, so it's already very loud. And I put the AirPods Max on and turned on the noise cancellation, and dude, all that stuff just melted. It was silence. I started watching Severance. I told you I started watching that show. It was on the airplane. I started watching Severance on my iPad, which I normally, when I'm watching something that I actually want to see, I almost always watch it on my OLED TV, right? Because that's like the best experience. Looks the best, sounds the best. Got the HomePods in stereo mode, and but I actually really enjoyed it. Like the AirPods Max with an iPad, that was a truly great listening experience. And the audio, the improved audio, especially when you're using Apple TV Plus, because they give like all the best codecs, right? Like doing that with the iPad, like the extra audio fidelity that you get, it actually makes up for having a smaller screen. And I really enjoyed that show. I'm going to talk more about Severance on a future show, by the way. I'm trying to get Lewis to watch it. I don't want to say anything about it right now because we need to talk about that show and like a future what we're into. But that it's definitely an interesting show. Let's see here. Streamlined. My AirPods Max are at 100% battery, and I used them last Friday the 7th. But Find My shows the location of August 20th. Okay. They are on my shelf at full battery with good Wi-Fi signal, though. See, yeah, what is the deal, man? I don't know. Like, I really just don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if they still had battery life left. Those things really do last a long time if you don't use them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've gotten some weird things with one of my AirPods 3 is acting up. It like one side won't charge.
That was happening to me.
I got to take them in and get them replaced.
That happened to me, and they did a test. They said, well, we think everything's fine. And they're like, well, just use them for a little while longer, and then if you have any weird issues, come back. And I went home, immediately it happened, and so Apple just gave me a brand new pair.
Yeah, I got to take it in and get it replaced. But I don't know if it's because of that, but a couple of trips I've made recently, I get an alert. Oh, it looks like AirPod 3 has been left at wherever you just were, right? And it's like, no, it's in my pocket. It's right here. And I don't know if it's because that one is acting up or what, but I don't. Maybe there's just something squirrely with Find My.
See, I don't think these kind of issues happen with AirTags. Like AirTags have.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like they're way more reliable. Like the Find My features built into Apple devices, it's very unpredictable and very unreliable, and it will tell you your stuff is somewhere when it's not actually there. And like I got a message that my MacBook Pro was left behind. I was like, dude, it's right there.
It's a little bit terrifying too. You get that message, it's like, what? Oh no, I left my AirPod. I must have dropped my AirPods out of my pocket on the bus, right? No, it's right there.
Yeah, like it just doesn't know for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm waiting and I'm praying. I'm living on a prayer, Lewis. It's my life, and I'm halfway there. And I'm waiting for that ping, man. I'm waiting for that ping that says, somebody walked by your AirPods Max. So, like, I think they're in Cape Canaveral. What's that?
I hope it happens.
Yeah, me too.
Hope they're not on, that SpaceX launch.
I'm watching, like, a SpaceX launch. Like, 3, 2, 1. But the guy's wearing my AirPods Max. Everything's great up here, Cape Canaveral. It's quiet as can be. I have my AirPods Max on. Can't hear a thing. We're good for launch. Yeah, I hope I find them because I don't want to rebuy them. Someone just pinged me on Twitter. Forgive me if I don't remember if I replied back to them. I was in the middle of doing something. I was like, I should reply back to this. And he was saying that I think he got an Amazon Prime Day. Gal, aren't you glad that's over? It's like
Early Access Prime or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was for a pair of AirPods Max. They were selling for $375, and he was like,
$375.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he was like, is that worth it? And I was like, I honestly don't know. If you think that you'll use AirPods Max every day, or if you use them a lot, then probably it is worth it. But if not, no, it's not worth it. I mean, if you travel a lot, if you travel, that's it right there. I mean, like there is nothing better for a flight than AirPods Max and an iPad. But if you don't, and you're not going to use them regularly, then even at $375, I don't think it's worth it. I would wait for the next version, honestly.
Yeah, I haven't brought myself to lay down the money for them. And you know what? I'm not kidding you. The other day, on the streets in San Francisco, I saw somebody wearing some AirPods Max, and that was the very first time I've seen anyone wearing them.
Where did you see them?
San Francisco. I saw somebody wearing a pair of AirPods Max.
I see people wearing them all the time.
Do you?
There's a guy at my gym who wears them, and I'm
This is
like,
the
dude,
first time I ever.
give me a break.
Sweating in those things. Come on.
Especially with all the condensation issues they have,
Oh,
which
jeez.
apparently doesn't break them because I did a whole video about
for
them.
that. Come on, AirPods
No,
Pro,
man,
buddy.
and they're heavy.
Yeah.
They are heavy. Like they're not. So when I first reviewed them, I was like, these aren't that heavy. But I was comparing them to my planar magnetic headphones, which are like the heaviest headphones you could buy. But when you compare them to like the Sony, I don't even know the model number, like the WMX, mine are the 4, like the version 4s, like the version 5s are out. Those things are plastic and they are light as a feather. You can wear them all day and not even know that they're on. Like the AirPods Max, you know that you're wearing those things. There's some bulky boys, some thick boy. That's a thick boy.
I do wish I had a pair just for lights, but you
Yeah.
know, I've got the AirPods Pro, so I'll get by.
Oh, well, yeah, the AirPods Pro, they give you that same experience, but then you got to have the tips, dude. You got to have the tips in your ears. That's going to be a no-go for me.
The tips on.
Let's see here. Streamline saying, I charged my AirPods Max to 100% in mid-August, and they're still over 90% today with 1 hour of use. Come to think of it, I almost never use my AirPods Max. They have spent almost their entire life on my shelf. And I brought them out before my trip, and I was like, oh, I wonder how much battery life they had. They were still like 60, 70%, and I had not touched them in months.
So these things are still live. Can you send a signal and make them make a noise?
I can't connect. I can't
Wake
connect to
someone
them.
up.
Yeah. So, I mean, the thing is if you can't send a signal if they can't be connected to. So it's kind of useless. So until someone with an iPhone tries to use them. So I'm wondering, like, did I leave them somewhere and no one's found them yet? Like, did I put them somewhere? Were they so hidden that no one's found them? And if it is at that Airbnb that I rented, like, if the cleaning crew didn't find them and the people who've already stayed there didn't find them, like, did I hide them so well that that's it? They're literally just going to die on that shelf in this Airbnb. No one's ever going to know that they're there. They're going to have a thick layer of dust. And until that person sells that house and it's like, hey, we got a pair of headphones in here, they're just never going to be found again. It's a major bummer, man. You know, because I loved having the AirPods Max, but I don't want to buy a new pair. I didn't love them enough to want to buy a new pair right now. There's
They're
way
like
too
a
much
luxury item, right? I mean, they're
Exactly.
nice to have, but
well, especially
not
for me
mandatory
because
for
I
day-to-day
don't use
life.
Apple Music. And I much prefer ethereal audio. Like I don't want to use headphones if I don't have to. I would much rather just have, speakers or, the HomePods. And once the new HomePods come out with the subwoofer capability and the 5.1 surround sound, I won't even think about the AirPods Max ever again. I may take a couple AirPods or HomePods on an airplane with me.
Yeah,
Put them on the tray table in stereo mode.
perfect.
That little whiny kid, he won't stand a chance. I'll just crank it up, and the new ones will probably be louder too. Lewis, we've been going for 6.5 hours.
Oh my God, it's 10 o'clock.
It's 10 p.m. Pacific time. Cultcast After Dark. I think we should call this one good. Put it in the books. I know you got an early flight tomorrow. You got to be up in aren't you literally flying out in 8 hours from now?
Yeah, 10. Yeah.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
Then let's go ahead and wrap up there. That's all the cast we have for you guys this week. But hey, the fun continues on Twitter. I'm at ERF on ERF, and Lewis is at Lewis Wallace. If you want to send me a new pair of AirPods Max, I'm up for that. Go ahead and just slide in those DMs.
If you're in Georgia, just, cruise by his place with your iPhone.
Yeah, please. I'll send you the address of my in-laws. Just go to the house with your iPhone and just loiter outside for an hour, please. Let's just see if we can get these things connected. Let's see here. This has been the Cultcast, the best 30-plus minute app conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the Cultcast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening. Look at this. Concurrent viewers is going up now that we're listening, or now that we're leaving. Isn't that always the way it works? I want to thank everyone for listening and for watching live. Fun hanging out with you guys. Night show. Love it. And we'll see you guys next time. Should we move it to night, Lewis?
iPhone Prost.
Cultcast at nights. Yeah. We could show up in some
Max.
Spicy outfits. You could wear like that outfit that the Gimp wore in Pulp Fiction.
The what? What?
Did you ever see Pulp Fiction?
Yeah.
They said bring out the Gimp.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be wearing the Gimp outfit.
No, all right. Maybe we just get some black lights.
Pretty hard to talk with that red ball in your mouth for starters.
Black lights would be fine. Get some smoke rolling through here. All right, everyone. Good night. and good luck.